Easy.
What was that? Was that me?
Is Adam from McKnight and Carlson Wines?
I'm Lee from the Oshkosh Beer Blog.
What do we got today?
I have a question for you first.
Yeah.
So do you have a favorite style of beer? Or is there a beer that if you're out and you see that style that you tend to get it?
A more hop-forward American Pale Ale, I would say.
Okay.
Something under 6% alcohol that has a nice hop note, not a ton of bitterness.
Okay. So like a pale ale sort of
Yeah.
a session beer with a...
Yeah, absolutely.
I would go with that too. I like that
Or
also.
Spotted Cow. I enjoy Spotted Cow, I'm not ashamed to say.
But if I ever see a Bock beer on tap somewhere,
Yeah.
I immediately grab it. Always.
Not surprising.
Always. And so what we're going to do today is we have 3 Wisconsin-style Bock beers. We're going to go from, I don't know, the ridiculous to the sublime, I think.
Okay, well,
but let's
the full
start.
spectrum.
Yeah, this is the full spectrum. So we'll start with Huber Bock, which is brewed by the Minhas Brewery of Monroe, Wisconsin.
Okay.
This is probably the oldest brewery we've had on here so far.
Yeah.
So this brewery opened in 1845 in Monroe as the Monroe Brewing Company. Eventually became known as Huber Brewing, which most people I think still around these parts still know it as.
Yeah.
And in 2006, a Canadian family, Minhas family, bought it and changed the name to Minhas Brewing.
Okay.
But they've been making this beer, this Bock beer, for this is a pre-prohibition beer.
Okay.
So they've continued
So,
to make it.
you
I'm
know,
sure it's changed
close
over
to 100
the
years?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
quite a while.
Yeah, wow. Now they make a number of beers at that brewery, don't they? And they do some contract brewing as well?
Yeah, they make a lot of beer. And a lot of it goes to Canada.
Yeah.
Where they're shipping it up there.
Probably a good thing.
Yeah. So what do you think of that aroma?
It's very beery.
It's got old beery, like that. Obviously, there's some corn in here.
Mustiness.
Yeah. And there's a caramel note in here that's pretty.
Yeah, it smells.
intense.
I hate to say this, it smells artificial a little bit.
And you probably aren't wrong there. I don't know if they're. Who knows what they're doing with this? I mean,
Yeah.
I've been drinking this beer for years, not necessarily because I like it, but just because I
foisted upon you before,
I have
or?
a sentimental attachment to it. But,
Glutton for punishment.
yeah. My dad used to buy this shit, and it'd
Yeah.
be sitting in our basement. So as a kid,
There's
I
a
would,
sentimentality.
yeah,
to
I'd
it.
run out
Okay.
with these beers, and it's very light for a Bock beer.
It is.
Almost has like a fruitiness to it.
Well, and there's like almost like an alkaline note to it as well, kind of like a metallic, almost.
I'm not going to permit you to say anything bad about this beer. No, I mean, this is not what you're going to call a great beer by Eddie.
This reminds me of if Miller Brewing Company were to make a Bock beer. This would be
Yeah.
the macro take on a style.
It is a macro take on a style. And I mean,
Yeah.
this is a German style of beer, but when these American brewers started brewing it, before Prohibition and then after as well, they lightened it. So this is a 5.5% ABV beer.
Yeah.
Not typically what you think of as Bock beer.
Yep.
Bocks tend to be stronger.
Yeah, and this has a ton of carbonation to it,
It has
which is
an absolute ton of carbonation.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
kind of really just fizzy.
It makes it seem thinner than it
Yeah.
actually is. Okay. Well,
I mean, there's a mild nuttiness, and that's about the only.
It's when it settles down to. I mean, we're probably not getting it yet, but
Yeah.
it's overtly sweet.
It is,
like
okay.
kind of almost
I'm not picking up on that yet. No. Really.
sickeningly sweet. Yeah, and I think what happens is that intense carbonation kind of shields that at first.
Yeah.
But as it settles down,
Oh.
I mean, I buy this every spring, and by the time I finish with it in late winter, it's. But it is what
Yeah.
It's there.
Well,
it's Huber Bock.
It's interesting. It's
Yes.
got a story behind it.
I can't help myself. I'm gonna buy it. Okay, so
Okay.
here we go. Now we're gonna get into something a little more substantial. This is
Bull Falls Bock.
Bull Falls Bock.
All right.
From the Bull Falls Brewery in Wausau, Wisconsin. 2007?
I believe so. Yeah.
2007, yeah. And this is a more robust beer.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe a
well,
little darker
that color is
than
nice, yeah.
most Bocks you see. Usually Bocks are a little bit more in the brown
Okay,
range.
so how do they get that color when they brew this beer?
Well, they would traditionally it was through decoction mashing.
Yeah.
And I think if any of these breweries are decoction mashing, it's Bull Falls. I know
Okay.
they have the capability to do it, and I know they do it with some beers. I'm not certain if they do it with the Bock beer. I would guess they do. But they're also using obviously some darker Munich malts and some Vienna malts to bring that color up.
Yeah, the nose between the two of these is night and day.
Yeah, this smells fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, this has a real rich.
And kind of a little slightly estery, but
and a bready note to it. Biscuity too. And that's a full-bodied beer. I mean, rich and a lot of malt flavor.
Yeah, kind of caramelized malt.
Yeah.
And a little, just hints of fruit, but not too much.
Yeah, and I think that's mostly coming from the malt itself. I don't think it's a fermentation
yeast characteristic. Yeah.
This is a 7.2% beer, so it's towards the higher end of that Bock range.
That's perfect. I mean.
Yeah. And it's for a beer that has that much malt richness, it finishes really clean.
This is a really, really nice beer. Really nice beer. Well, since we're talking about Bocks, I had a great Bock at Oblio's Lounge recently. Shells for this year, I don't know if they've done this in the past, but they released a horizontal lineup of Bocks. So the only one I had was the heirloom Bock, which was just fantastic.
I had that. I had the pre-prohibition. I had their standard Bock, and I had their Doppelbock. So,
so that's the whole.
Yeah. And I thought that heirloom Bock was the best.
Yeah.
That was.
Now, does that skew more Doppelbock in style? Would you say? Or?
Those were. I mean, that was like 6.2%. I think.
Yeah.
So it's firm Bock range.
And I know that they're releasing 12-ounce mix packs of the Bocks, which I don't carry here, but I'm sure you can find them.
They're pretty hard to find. I was looking around because after I had the heirloom, I was like, this is just fantastic.
Yeah.
And I was going on Tap Hunter to see where these beers are showing up. We were getting them in Oshkosh, and they're getting them in Minnesota, and there weren't too many places in between.
Not too many in between.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we lucked out.
Yeah. Well, look those up in addition to these. Really, really nice beers, but this is delicious.
Yeah, I think so too. And this is a beer that, as it warms up, these are getting to about the right temperature. Mm-hmm. It really starts exposing a lot of that. Rich
I mean, I could drink a pint of this, no problem.
I could too.
Yeah.
And I have. I mean, it's a great beer. All right, should we move along?
Move along.
All right, so our third is Lazy Monk Brewing Company of Eau Claire, Wisconsin, opened in 2011. And this is your friend Leosh's
Leosh, yeah,
beer.
Your friend as well.
So did he deliver? This is their Doppelbock.
He hand delivered, so that their new location in Eau Claire is going gangbusters. They're making tons of beer and can hardly keep up. So that's great.
And that's like maybe a little lighter than most, but I don't know. It's pretty much in the range.
Yeah.
Have you had this beer?
I have. We have it on draft in the restaurant at Gardenia's currently.
The aroma on this beer is insane.
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
Well, it really kind of, pops from the glass.
Yeah, and it's got this, like, nuttiness to it, and it's really beautiful.
I'll be curious to see the differences between package and draft for this beer.
Yeah, I haven't had it on draft yet. So. Wow. The palate is really full. The malt just kind of, like, spreads out in your mouth. I mean, I don't know what the hops are in here, but it's got to be very low.
Yeah.
I know the Bull Falls is like 21 on use, so it's just balancing all that malt flavor. But
absolutely.
On the Lazy Monk, this is just fantastic.
I think this has some more sweetness to it than the Bull Falls Bock.
Yeah, and traditionally that's how those Doppelbocks were.
Yeah.
I mean, Doppelbocks weren't always as strong as what they are now. They used to just they'd brew this high gravity beer, and they'd have the yeast would hardly attenuate. So you'd end up with a lot of sugar left over.
Sugar, sure.
A lot of those earlier Bocks were only like 4 and 5%. Mm-hmm. Now this I think is 7.5 or something like that. Man.
So both these are 7.5% alcohol.
This is the Bull Falls is 7.2.
Okay.
Lazy Monk doesn't list their
release, but if you had
but from experience, I'm saying it's about 7.5, 8, right in that range.
Yeah. It's funny to see the differences in flavor characteristics with the kind of similar alcohol contents.
This, I mean, they're both rich beers, but this is exceptionally rich.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is. You get more of the sweetness in this, I think, than the Bull Falls.
I don't know, like, what do you think of with food in these beers? I mean, to me, when you have that much malt flavor, I don't naturally think of like types of food. I mean, do you?
Not necessarily. No, I mean this is kind of like when they say a loaf of bread in every bottle or can, as it were. I mean, this is a pretty sustaining beer, and
maybe like a steak. You
Yeah.
got to kind of pair it together with that melanoid-rich kind of flavor from the beer and
absolutely.
grilled steak maybe.
I'm not sure what I just enjoy this on its own, I think, personally, but
yeah, that's a great beer. So you said you have this on tap right now.
I have this on tap right now.
Cool.
I have to say, it's got a little bit more body out of the can than it does on draft.
Does it?
Yeah. It's delicious on draft as well, but it tastes just slightly thinner.
So what have people been saying about it that are getting it on draft today?
I think everybody loves the Lazy Monk beers uniformly, the Czech Pilsner especially, but people are usually excited and anticipate the next seasonal we put on. And obviously, this is a popular one with the large German population in the
I mean, these
area.
are beers that were drank around here for. I mean, Bocks were being brewed in Oshkosh in the 1850s. So it's a long time. And I think, I don't know if you notice this, it seems like people in Wisconsin in general, but in this area maybe in particular, tend to have a little bit more affinity for sweeter beers.
Absolutely. I see that in this market. It's funny because you see that with wine.
Oh, you do?
Sweet wines, brandy old-fashioned sweets.
Of course. Yeah.
Sweet beers. This market has a sweet tooth. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, you do well with IPAs though, too.
Yeah.
Is that a different group
I
of
think
people?
so. It's generally the sweeter drinkers are a little bit older.
Okay.
That
makes sense.
From the area. It could be a generational thing.
And
it's really interesting, actually.
Do you I've encountered this with people, and I'm sure you probably do more. There's a real antagonism, it seems, for the people who don't like those IPAs towards the IPAs, and then the people who like IPAs against anything other than IPAs.
Oh, absolutely. You see that all the time. There's hopheads and there's people who like everything but hops.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add?
I don't think so. What about you?
Just
your
one
talk is
thing.
coming up?
Yeah, well.
We can promote that again.
Well, more importantly, if you'd like to see me dressed as a beer can.
I would.
Well, on St. Patrick's Day, the St. Patrick's Day parade on Saturday in Oshkosh, a bunch of us of the SOBs are going to be dressed as beer cans. And we're going to be going down Main Street throwing candy overhand at kids' heads. And so I don't know, that might be interesting.
That would definitely be worth seeing.
Saturday
Have a couple of beers and go check that out. Yeah.
All right, Adam.
Hey. Cheers, Lee.